3, 2. Yes, it's me. It's the MIC Craig, Mr. Impact, and I'm joined, of course, by the excellent Nixon. This is Talking Bloody Nonsense right here on the TNA IW channel. It's been a new week, new Impact, lots to talk about. But first things first, Nixon, how's it going?
Yeah, all good here. Thank you, Craig. How about yourself?
Yep, all good. Just a lot seems to be going on in Impact again, but at least we're here and we didn't miss it this time.
Yeah.
Talk about it as it's happening. And yeah, just before we get started, I'm going to give a couple shout outs. First of all, congratulations to Ricky Knight Jr. and his partner on the birth of their baby boy.
Yeah,
another addition
good looking
boy. Yeah, another addition to the Knight family. And also congratulations to Lizzie Evo, who recently made her debut for ICW, which if you watched her on TBN chats, you know that was a goal on her list. So congratulations to her. And yeah, I guess without any further ado, I mean, it seems to be a lot of wrong show, but it's hot topics. So I think we should get into our first headline, our main headline of this week. It's an interesting one. You've probably seen already, but for those who don't know, first of all, shout out to Mike G at Fight Game Media for bringing this to my attention. But Josh Alexander, the walking weapon, appears to be looking for bookings around the weekend of No Surrender. So does it mean booked? Does it mean not booked? I don't know what's going on here. But there has been rumors of Josh's contract running up, has been for quite some time, and also, where's Rachael Ellering? She was taken off the Hard to Kill, Knockouts Ultimate X, and hasn't really been seen since. She wasn't out of the previous tapings, and hasn't been advertised for the upcoming tapings next month, up the weekend of No Surrender. So, get your thoughts on what you think's happening with Josh Alexander, and whether you think Rachael Ellering is done with Impact, like the rumors suggest.
Well, you brought the Josh Alexander situation to my attention today. I had no idea. Like, why, assuming he's under contract, why wouldn't you have him on the No Surrender card? He's one of the top guys in the company right now. It just doesn't make any sense to me. There's got to be more to this situation than we're privy to. As far as Rachael Ellering goes, the last I saw of her, well, certainly on Twitter, was when she was... I think she was a bit PO'd that she didn't get a shout out on her birthday.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, and... funny enough, a few hours later, she was off the Hard to Kill show.
Yeah, they can't be related. There has to be more to this situation. You wouldn't just take a wrestler like Rachael Ellering off the card because she called you out because you forgot her birthday, and she wouldn't no-show or wouldn't quit the company because she wasn't wished happy birthday. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe... I don't know all the contract situations in Impact. I don't even try to keep up with it. Maybe their contracts have expired. Maybe they're looking to renew Josh, and he's just using some sort of bargaining with advertising that he's free on No Surrender weekend, so he can get a bit more pay. Which fair play to him. He deserves it. Yeah, whether Rachel's gone or not, I don't think it's a massive loss to the women's roster. She's good at... I mean, I've got these notes on my phone of stuff that I wanted to talk about on the podcast week after week. And Rachael has been on there because she's improved since she first started. Well, she's improved since the Mae Young Classic. She's improved since she debuted in Impact. But I still don't think she's on the same level as Jordan Grace, Tasha Steeles, people like that. She will be.
Yeah.
You need more reps. You need more ring time. You need more training. I could pick apart her matches. I go through them with a fine tooth comb. But that's not my job. All the best to her. I hope she is still with Impact. I hope if she's not, then I don't want to say it, but I've got to say it now, haven't I? Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously she was featured endeavored by WWE, which led to come to Impact. I've never particularly been a big fan of Rachael Ellering. I'm obviously I know the name. I didn't really know a lot about her, but also I know her family name, as I'm sure most wrestling fans do. When she came to Impact, I thought, okay, cool, another addition to the Knockouts division. Not that I don't think they needed it at that point, but because they still had quite a lot of star power, even though Rachel coming in, it did help boost the numbers. She just never quite landed right for me. I watch her matches and think, yeah, she's good, and obviously, way better than me. But I just was never. I could never get invested in her character and what she was doing. When they were teasing the split up of her and Jordan Grace, I was hoping for it because I didn't think Jordan Grace needed that partnership. Because she doesn't, and I don't think she ever really needed it. That was, in my opinion, just Impact running out of ideas for Jordan. Thankfully, the DMC came along, and now Jordan is killing that division. But she just never really landed right for me. She had a great showing in Knockouts Knockdown against Mercedes Martinez. Thought she was great, but coming as the queen of strong smile and all that stuff, I don't know if that was her gimmick from the beginning. Like I said, I never really paid too much attention to her, but it kind of felt like a mix of Bailey and Kylie Ray for me, and
Yeah.
it just didn't land right for me.
Anytime you are parodying a gimmick that is already over, like the King of Strong Style, obviously Shinsuke Nakamura, you are already presenting yourself as less than.
Yeah.
You need to come with original ideas. I was going to make another point. What was it? Oh, it will come back to me. Sorry, go on, Craig.
Yeah, I was going to say with the whole Rachel thing, and you mentioned that coming in with a strong character already, and that's not a carbon copy of something. I won't know from any personal experience, but in the wrestling world, if you have a notable last name, I can imagine it can be quite difficult to find your own niche. Well, obviously, a lot of wrestlers have done it, but Rachel, it just didn't land with me. But as for Josh Alexander, I'm hoping that this is just a bargaining tool. Like he's trying to get a contract. I know because it is strange because Josh managed end of last year, he managed to have enough financial security to quit his day job, and fantastic. And he wasn't, I don't believe, he was taking as many bookings. He was still working for companies such as AAW and did a few shows in Japan and a few independents elsewhere, but he was never really doing local indies. It was independents that had risen and shows that were being advertised on Fight, and he was working matches he wanted to work. To see him taking bookings or no surrender is troubling because Josh is someone you build a company off, and I know he said recently on Impact, before being interrupted by Charlie Haas, he said that something about if he has to go for one more hoop, then he might have to find another company, or might have to look elsewhere. Which I hope was part of the promo, but with him saying advertising for bookings, it's troubling. I really want Josh to stick around, because I always knew when he joined as part of the North that Josh would be the breakout of that team. Josh would be the James Storm, if you like. He's such a phenomenal wrestler, and if I'm Impact, especially with the people they've let out of contract, throw money at him. Get him to stick around, because Josh Alexander is someone you invest in, and right now he's the best technical wrestler in the world. That's my opinion. I know a few people agree with that, but Josh Alexander, Impact needs to just give him a blank check. Give him a blank check, because he's someone you need to build off.
It's a fair shout that he's the best technical wrestler in the world. I think he's one of the most intense wrestlers in the world as well. Yeah, I agree. Throw the checkbook at him. You've got to keep him on the roster. You made a good point. He did say in a promo, maybe I need to look elsewhere, blah, blah, blah. So maybe this could even be working that storyline. Could also be as simple as they don't have any match for him at No Surrender. Maybe they've got something that will write him off TV over that weekend. It's way too early to say what exactly's gone on. I remembered my point that I was going to make about Rachael Ellering.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, am I right in thinking she's dating Chris Hero?
Yes, she is.
If you've got Chris Hero as a coach and someone who would give you advice, every day, you should be a better wrestler than you are. I feel so bad for being so unfair towards Rachael Ellering, because I'm sure she's a lovely person and she's a decent wrestler. But yeah, there are more talented women on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be difficult to shine in this current knockout division. Arguably the best it's been possibly ever. I know that's a bold statement to make when you look at the previous divisions, especially back in Gail, Kim, Angelina Love, Tara, Winter, all those in that division. It's a tough call to make, but this division, I mean, you look at it from top to bottom. You have Mickie James as the Knockouts World Champion, and the Inspiration as the Knockouts World Tag Team Champions. You have Deonna Purrazzo, Tasha Steelz, who is rising to the top, and by the end of this year, Tasha Steelz is going to be Knockouts Women's World Champion. There's no doubt in my mind. By the end of this year, she is going to reach that mountaintop, and it's well earned. I don't say deserved, because you have to earn stuff, and she has earned it. She was a phenomenal tag team champion. Probably the Knockouts tag team division. It had a lot of ups and downs, mostly downs towards the end. But if you continue the lineage on from where they left it, Fire and Flavor was some of the best in Impact at that time. Fire and Flavor were the best tag team in Impact of both divisions. So I can imagine it's difficult to rise through those ranks, especially when you have such phenomenal wrestlers on there already. And so I hope Rachael seems like a great person, and like I said, there's no slight on her as a person. As a wrestler, it's just our opinion, but for me, she never landed right, and I'm aware of a few people who have a similar feeling of that she never quite landed right on Impact.
Whilst we're still on the subject of the tag team division, I've noticed the Inspiration teaming against the Influence this tonight on Impact.
Yes.
It's Caleb, not Tennille.
Yeah, oh yes, we'll be getting to that. Oh
Okay.
yes, definitely
You're
getting
right.
to that one. It's
I'll save that for later then.
yeah, we'll get into that for sure. It's an interesting one, but just sum up if you like. Josh Alexander, just Scott D'Amore, Ed Home, whoever's in charge of that checkbook, just give him a blank check. Let him let him sign for however much he wants to sign for, because he is a once in a generation talent. He could, you know, he's had comparisons made to him, comparisons between him and Bret Hart, and I can see it, and I know a lot of other people can. Josh Alexander, whatever it takes, keep him on, because he is a phenomenal athlete. And if you're looking at pillars to take Impact to where they used to be and maybe even further, Josh Alexander is someone who is a part of that. And I can't see, even for Josh Alexander has to be a world champion, a proper world champion, before he leaves either way.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, I'm sure whatever is happening here, it'll get sorted. Contract dispute, whether it's as you say, bargaining. I'm sure it'll all get resolved, and Josh will be, on the show going forward. And I'm still saying Josh versus Moose at Bound for Glory this year. I said it on our very first episode. I'm sticking with it. In October, you'll see that match.
I can completely believe that. I mean, see, I was aware of kind of the contract thing going on in 2019 when Josh was first signed. I believe it was 2019. He did an Impact press pass, and Ethan Page came on to congratulate him on being signed with Impact Wrestling. Because obviously they weren't reformed as a team, but it was happening. And Ethan said that someone said that Josh is signed to 3 years when Ethan Page had 2 years, and that was in 2019. So, and we've heard nothing about Josh re-signing, even though there's always rumors about whether people are going here, there, or everywhere, wherever they want to go. But I don't think Josh will leave, because Impact know how much of a big deal he is and how much of an uproar there'll be if he goes.
Mm.
And he was at these tapings, I believe. I know there's a lot of issues, but speaking of these tapings, our first subheading of the evening is something that, if you follow me, if you follow half the Impact Nation, it frustrates us, but it keeps on happening, and it's certainly one thing I didn't miss when there was no crowds in the Impact Zone. TV tapings, spoilers. It's been a big issue for Impact over the years, and it frustrates me. It frustrates the Impact faithful. When it comes to spoilers, I've had in the past Sami Callihan win the world title. That was spoiled for me. I've had I think it was Austin Aries winning the world title. That was spoiled. Or returning from the world title. So many things have been spoiled, and I don't know. What's your take on it? Do you think Impact should do something about it? Can they do anything about it? What's your take on the spoilers? I know a lot of people tend to read the spoilers, but that's fine if you're searching for it, I think. Not if you're just posting it out there for everyone to see. What's your thoughts?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't go out there and seek Impact spoilers. So for most of the time, I don't see them. If it's a big situation, like you said, if it's a world title change, I can remember when Eddie Edwards won the world title from Lashley years ago. That was spoiled for me. I remember the Austin Aries one, the Sammy one. Unfortunately, big title changes like that, if they're on a taped show, it's very difficult to avoid them. and there's nothing Impact can do about it, I'm afraid. But if it is a big title change and it happens to be spoiled, does that mean the casual viewer is more likely to watch the show that week if they know there's going to be a big title change? It's certainly if it's someone that they enjoy watching.
Well, that's it. I mean, it is unbelievably frustrating. But if you go back to Monday Night Wars, Tony Schiavone and WCW said that Mick Foley, Mankind, is winning the world title, try and keep them on that side, but it didn't work. People went over and watched Raw that night. So spoilers do have their place in a way, but for a lot of fans, particularly with Impact, because particularly for us UK fans, when Impact used to air on a Sunday on Challenge, but it would air in the States on Tuesday. It would week in, week out always get spoiled, but yeah, like there's really not a lot Impact can do about it. I don't know. It's really. I mean, I guess my issue is that if you have pictures, take pictures, videos, whatever. But maybe think about people may not want to see this, so keep it to yourself. I don't understand the fascination of having to share everything as soon as you know it. I get we live in a world of information, but there's some things, particularly in wrestling, I think wrestling is probably the worst place for spoilers. I mean, I try and avoid them as much as I can. We'll get into it in the next subheading a bit more, but obviously the quintessential diva is coming to Impact, and I'm pretty sure everyone right now knows who that is. And someone posts a picture of that person debuting at these tapings. So it's really frustrating because I like having just be able to react to it as it happens. I'm a big. I know. I mean, obviously, there's a call for Impact to start doing live shows. I mean, what would be your take on that? Do you reckon they should, or how do you see it?
They 100% should. The only thing is, it's more of a cost, and there's more things that can go wrong. But yeah, there's nothing better than live wrestling. It's so much better than taped wrestling. It's it's not even comparable. But that means you need to be in that place. Everyone needs to be in that location every week. I wouldn't mind if they went back to in 2010. They used to do a live show and then tape a show for the next week. That would be far more cost effective and more enjoyable than what they're doing now. But again, going live on a Thursday, you're not going to guarantee everyone is going to be available. As I say, the broadcast would cost more. So, if they were in a position where they're making money hand over fist, then I'd say, yeah, absolutely go live. But I don't think it's in the cards right now.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And when you look at, if you're like Impact, if you're like infamous in a way for known for occasionally having poor quality when it comes to live streaming, pay-per-views. The amount of times I'm watching Impact pay-per-view and the streams are cut out at some point, and you miss a match, you miss some big happening. Like I've missed W. Morris's debut. That's I want to say Rebellion. I'm pretty sure it was Rebellion. I missed that, which sucked because even though it was spoiled for me beforehand, I think it was Fightful who leaked it because they seem to like leaking everything. And so, but going back to the live thing for the TV, as far as I can remember, Impact have only. My main memory of Impact being live, I think it was live, but I'm not entirely sure, was when MVP debuted as a mystery investor. I believe that was live from Glasgow, but I know they certainly said it was live, but I can't remember if it was fully live. But I think it must have been because that would have been everywhere. MVP showing up did make big news for Impact. I assume that would have been everywhere, unless I just didn't.
If I remember correctly, that would have been like 2012, 2014, somewhere.
Yeah, around 2014. Yeah, it was in Glasgow. I know that.
I think they filmed it during the day in Glasgow, and then it aired that night in the States.
Oh, so like WWE do when they come over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they film. Yeah, absolutely.
And then
yeah. So again,
they filmed the next few weeks in London after that.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So, but man, it is frustrating, and you know, I understand people want the clicks, so I get that why they post the spoilers. In particular, I remember when some Callahan won the world title. I can't remember who posted it, but Wrestle Talk then posted it on their YouTube, and Impact asked them to take it down, but they just refused, which what you expect from people who get loads of clicks every day.
Yeah.
So, but it sucks and it's unfortunate, but yeah, there's not a lot we can do. They can't go all WWE and just take their phones off people.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose I remember talking about this with a friend on their podcast. Bam at Amber Bam on Twitter. We're talking about on her podcast, Shooting the Shit with Bam. We talked about spoilers, and especially when it was in the in Skyway Studios, and we talked about the possibility of maybe Impact, considering it was a TV studio, they could have asked people to sign NDAs. They could have if they wanted to, but they didn't. But nothing was really spoiled during those tapings. I found. No, I think no, because even Mercedes Martinez, that was announced before the tapings took place because it kind of seemed like Knockouts Knockdown was thrown together at the last minute. But I don't know. It seemed to be okay over there. Now they're back in. Now they're traveling, and it's great they're traveling. Finally, they're back out traveling and getting in front of crowds who have been rowdy, like at where they were for Hard to Kill. I keep forgetting the name of them.
Dallas.
In Vegas. Yes, it's in Dallas. And even in Vegas, I've never been a fan of those two crowds because it seemed quite quiet to me. But this time they were noisy, they were making noise, and they were enjoying what they were seeing, which was always a plus. Excuse me. So it's good that they're traveling, and I can't wait. Hopefully they can make their way back over here.
Yeah. Regarding NDAs, again, that's another expense. That's a whole department you need to have on your side. It takes time to get people in and signing these things. You have to have staff there to make sure these are all being signed. I think a better way of doing it is what Colt Cabana used to do. He would basically say, look, guys, we're making a living here. You're all fans of Impact. Just have someone go out with a mic, Pinzo or whoever, Scott D'Amore, say, you're all Impact fans. Everyone that watches this show will be Impact fans. We would really appreciate it if no one spoiled, so they can enjoy it as much as you're going to enjoy it tonight.
Yeah.
And I think that would be effective. You'll probably get one dickhead that posts some stuff up or posts a video of a debut or a title change. But again, it's unavoidable.
Yeah, you're going to get.
Yeah, I think that might be the way to do it. Yeah,
it reminds me of with Kamikaze when they for their live shows they come out let people have it enjoys everything. They say that take as many pictures as you want, but just please no videos. because they're filming it to go on their on-demand service. It's like Impact are filming it to go on their channel, so maybe that's the way to go around it. But it's especially in this world we're living in, spoilers are unfortunately inevitable. It's just whether people choose to be dicks or not.
Yeah.
And life is as simple as don't be a dick.
That's your mantra, isn't it?
Yeah, I've especially since I've been on Twitter, that's something I've been saying a lot. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
But anyway, now on to some more positive news. Of course, the Impact preview. Let's take a look at this week's Impact. It started off stronger than I was expecting. I enjoyed the match more than I thought it was going to. But Tasha Steelz defeated Chelsea Green, which led to, with Mickie James on commentary, which led to a brawl between Chelsea, Mickie, Tasha, and Savannah Evans. Gia Miller was backstage with Matt Cardona after his little appearance on BTI earlier, as Jordan Grace defeated Lady Frost to retain the Digital Media Championship. And Matt Cardona has made a challenge to Jordan Grace for the Digital Media Championship. The Influence, in what was supposed to be a tag team match, took out Rosemary before the match, leading to a 2-on-1 handicap, with the Influence defeating Havoc of Decay, followed by a promo from the Inspiration saying that they're going to be at Impact next week and they'll defend their Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. Followed by a promo video teaser package. The Quintessential Diva is coming to Impact Wrestling, which I'm pretty sure we know her it was already, but maybe we'll give the spoiler, but I don't know. We'll get into it, or we might discuss whether we'll give the spoiler or not. Ace Austin then tries to befriend Speedball Mike Bailey. W. Morrissey defeats both members of the Learning Tree in VSK and Zicky Dice. Then W. Morrissey lets Moose know that he's going to be world champion and he's coming out to him no matter what. And despite what very much looked like to me, W. Morrissey not having his emotions in check, Scott D'Amore then awarded him an Impact World Championship match at No Surrender on the 19th of February. That was quickly followed by Scott D'Amore rushing off to the Honor No More, the Ring of Honor 5 of Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis, Vincent, and PCO. They have tickets and they want to watch the Ring of Honor World Championship match between Jonathan Gresham and Steve Macklin, which Jonathan Gresham wins under pure rules in a fantastic finish. Then the Honor No More seem to be leaving. Then they have a tag team match between Doc Gallows and Joe Doring versus Heath and Rhino, which Gallows and Doring win. Josh Alexander then defeats Charlie Haas in the main event before both are attacked by Honor No More. And we get a nice little promo from Maria asking if we believe. Nice little throwback there. The Honor No More guys were in the ring. They were chased out by the usual suspects of Rich, Willie, Heath, Rhino, and Eddie Edwards with Kenny, which interested me. How quickly they scattered when Eddie came out. The promo saying there's no more Honor left. Yeah, what's your thoughts on all of that? A lot happened, and another solid episode.
Yeah, Impact are really on a roll with the TV shows at the moment. They're consistently brilliant every week. I'll start from near the top. I'm really looking forward to the Jordan Grace, Matt Cardona, angle. I hope it's an angle. I hope it's a running thing, because I think it's a really interesting matchup.
Yes, very interesting.
I bought the GCW pay-per-view from Hammerstein on Sunday, and it was okay. There was some good matches. There was some matches that weren't very good. The match I enjoyed the most was Matt Cardona versus Joey Janela, because it was batshit. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love a dog and pony show. I'm a real sucker for them. Ever since like Raven and Sandman in ECW in 1996, we're having wild matches with so many run-ins. You couldn't possibly keep track. And I know people say it's overbooked, but I love it. You know, it keeps things exciting. When because I think Joey's great, but that match needed something a little bit extra. You know, a few shenanigans to keep it entertaining. With the Cardona Jordan Grace match, if Matt's gonna, you know, if he's gonna beat Jordan and take the title, you know, it makes him a villain, right?
Surely.
To beat a woman for a championship.
Yeah,
I
surely.
mean, yeah. I hope this is the transition of Cardona, Impact Cardona into GCW Cardona, and he becomes this absolute obnoxious prick. And you know, it could then lead to Cardona being the top guy in Impact.
Right, yeah. I'm praying we get that Matt Cardona in Impact. Matt Cardona is the hottest thing on the independent scene in the States right now. He is Mr. Independent. He said that this is the best most wins he's ever had in his career. And he's working independent shows in front of 200, 300 people sometimes. And he's loving every second of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that's what we see from the Cardona Jordan Grace situation, and it would keep both of them strong. If Cardona just rolls over Jordan Grace, it does nothing for either of them.
No,
I hope then Chelsea turns as well, because I don't dig Chelsea as a babyface. She's a far better villain.
Yeah, it would make it easier for me if she was a heel.
Yeah.
It would make it easier for me. I was if you look at going for this card. I mean, I want to mention the Ring of Honor World Championship match, Jonathan Gresham versus Steve Macklin.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of people online saying they're not into the pure rules stipulation. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's a great stipulation when you really think about it, because never in my life have I seen a figure four turn into a pin whilst Gresham was holding the top rope. Balanced, and it counted. That was legal. The referee knew it. It was legal. That's never been done before, and it's not often you can say that in wrestling, but that can't have been done before. Not in this type of capacity anyway, because it was legal. Referee counted the 1, 2, 3, and Macklin stayed down. I've never seen that before. I know, judging by the online reaction, a lot of other people haven't seen it before. And this whole Ring of Honor thing just keeps getting better and better. But I want to talk about the quintessential diva. Obviously, if you're a fan of Bret West, you're very much aware of who this is. Shall we? I mean, by this point, people know. I believe it's tapings.
Because, you know, they're not just debuting someone under the name of the quintessential diva. This is someone who has had this moniker for a while.
Yeah.
So, you know, to the educated, it's obvious. To the uneducated, it's not someone who, you know, they're bringing back. I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh yeah, let it be Tyre." Yeah, you know, this is the person that has had this moniker, so it's not really a spoiler. But yeah, as I say, to the uneducated, to the casual fan, I guess it would be. But if you are uneducated, you're not going to know who this person is. Right. So I don't think it really matters, you know, if we say or not.
So it's the current Rev Pro and Progress Women's Champions, Giselle Shaw, who has appeared on Impact several times on the One Night Only, when it was back when it was the Global Wrestling Network. She had a great match with Tessa Blanchard for the Knockouts Championship at a Destiny event. She's appeared a few times at BCW on an Impact show. She's been killing it over here. She's, there's a good chance she's going to be on a card. If it's a big show, she's good chance she's going to be on that card.
She's one of the more in-demand wrestlers in the UK right now.
Yeah, by far. And I had my first kamikaze event. I was outside waiting for the door to open, queuing up like we always do. Because we're good at that. And she walked past and said a little. I was still quite nervous about talking to wrestlers at this point. She walked back. We had a little chat. It was cool. She was. I didn't ask for a photo, which I'm annoyed about because I should have. But she's a great wrestler and is going to fit in well in this division. It's about time. She should have been in Impact years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and also on that we had so much the Honor No More thing, but I think we'll get into that in the final 10. So let's take it over to this week's Impact Wrestling. First coming up on BTI, Laredo Kid is facing the returning Blake Christian. What's your thoughts on that? Blake Christian is back on an Impact show.
So when WWE signed Blake Christian, I knew they wouldn't do anything with him because he's just got the wrong look for WWE. He's sort of pale, ginger, freckly, not the most built. Although his time in NXT, I think he's only there like 3 months. When you're paid to work out. At that point, you're paid to be in the performance center every day working out. So the guy looks 10 times better now than he did, when he went there. He had a fantastic match with Leo Rush at the GCW pay-per-view. So yeah, very excited to see him back in Impact, and I hope he sticks around because he's going to be another one of the more in-demand wrestlers on the circuit. I mean, if he goes to AEW, he'll be another guy that's on Dark every week, unfortunately. He might be on Dynamite once every 5 weeks or so. But, very excited. I think that'll be a great match. Stylistically, those two, styles make fights, as they say. And I think those two will complement each other.
It's going to be a banger. Blake Christian, again... When he signed for WWE, obviously he competed in the Super X Cup. Well, actually, after signing his contract, but obviously he was still allowed to work his current dates.
I think he got to the final, didn't he?
Yeah. Ace Austin beat him in the final. Yeah, so I hope this can be more permanent. I know with Impact they like to bring him onto shows, have them lose quite a lot, but eventually sign. They did it with Chris Bay. They did it with Ace Austin. And if they're doing it with Blake Christian, great stuff. Also, as you mentioned earlier, the influence was the inspiration is happening for the Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. However, Tenille can't make it or couldn't make it. And apparently, from what I've read, it's due to some COVID issues. But let's get your thoughts on that, and Caleb and Madison Rain facing inspiration for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships.
So I saw the graphic for this today. The graphic didn't say that the match was for the championship. It just said the influence versus the inspiration. So I'm hoping we don't go back to the dark ages of Impact, where ODB and Eric Young were the women's tag team champions. Hopefully it's just a match, and if there is a stipulation, it's that if the influence win, they get a tag team title match, further down the line when Tenille is back. Because if Caleb is competing for a women's championship, Impact are past this. Surely we're past this nonsense.
I know Max would love it. Max is saying that I believe it's Max. It's over the main show at TNW channel every Saturday night. But I think Max would be into it because I think he's something you mentioned before that he wouldn't be against it.
I'm all for intergender wrestling, but I'm not for men holding women's championships.
Well, I think that's a conversation for maybe the next episode, because also with Impact they have a pretty now they have a history of it, but it didn't end well, obviously. But I think definitely that could be maybe make that next week's Final 10. But we also have on the show Mickie James is making a State of the Knockout address. Chris Bay faces Jake something, and poor Swinger. Johnny Swinger is facing Jonah. What are you looking forward to on the rest of that card, and how do you see it going for poor Swinger? And also, what do you think Mickie James has to say?
So, what's this State of the Knockouts division address about?
I have no idea. It came out of nowhere. I'm guessing it has something to do with Tasha Steelz. Sure. But Impact make a big deal out of it being 24 hours from the Royal Rumble.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of that. I think we just have to wait and see what happens there. As far as poor old Swinger, my mate Johnny Swinger. If you didn't see that, I made a little video when Swinger won our Nonsensy for second of the year, and Swinger retweeted it. So that made my day anyway. Mizark for Mizark's daddy.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's not going to go well for him this week. Tonight on Impact against Jonah. Poor guy.
Oh, he's just. Yeah, and he's got no Hernandez to back him up either. I mean, I think it's Lance Storm who said that Gail Kim may need to borrow one of her husband's biggest spatulas to scrape him off the ring.
That's very good. Hopefully, it'll just be a bit of nonsense, and then Jonah will make quick work of Swinger. Yeah,
fingers crossed. You know, I can see him definitely being hit with a tsunami.
When it was what was the December pay-per-view called? The one from Kentucky, Throwback Throwdown.
Yeah.
When Swinger teamed with Mike Jackson.
Yeah.
I swear Mike Jackson, who's approaching 80 years old, took more bumps than Johnny Swinger.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Mike Jackson versus Jonah.
Oh.
Am I a sadist for saying that?
Oh. I mean, I reckon Jackson would be up for it. he seems to definitely be up for it still.
That young buck, Mike Jackson.
Oh, that was phenomenal. When that happened, I genuinely believed that it was that Michael Jackson impersonator wrestler. I thought I genuinely thought it was going to be him because it's from the right time frame. But I mean, just great.
How good was Swinger versus Jackson?
So good. Better than it had any right to be.
Oh yeah.
Jackson went on David Penz's Sitting Ringside podcast a couple weeks afterwards, and he is still interested in working. Obviously, not as much, but the fact that he's still going, and for the most part, hasn't really missed a step.
Yeah.
I know back in WCW he was like the job guy, but he incredible at that role because he does make you look insanely good. So I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more from him.
Reminded me of Johnny Saint when he had the career resurgence in the mid 2000s. I actually went to a show in Broxbourne and I watched him versus Chris Hero. In 2008, 2006, 2008. That would have been fantastic stuff. Really good match.
And Yeah, he is just he's probably on the Mount Rushmore of British wrestling for me.
Oh, has to be 100%.
Right, so we're now into the final 10. And I want to talk about the Honor No More faction, the Ring of Honor 5. There was a lot of speculation about, particularly on BTI last week, from George Iceman, that someone inside Impact is letting them in. And I've seen a few theories, and I'm starting to believe them. And that theory is Eddie Edwards is on his way to a heel turn, which, see, looking back on it, when I think of how Impact have done these type of things stuff before, like particularly go back to the Ace and Eights, and the Ace and Eights would beat down anyone in the ring, but when Bully Ray came out, they would Scarpa, and I'm getting that feeling again. I don't want to, but maybe it's time Eddie does have a heel turn. I know it tries to bring him in as a kind of heel as part of MVP's protection as part of the investor, but I think Eddie could be. I know they recently turned heel over in the Pro Wrestling Revolver. Him and Dave Richards after winning the Revolver Tag Team Championships, they turned heel then. So maybe it is coming. What's your take on it? Do you think it's going that way, or could it be someone else?
I certainly think it makes sense for it to be Eddie Edwards, as you say. When he came out with Kenny, whilst they were beating down Rich Swann and Willie Mack and that crew, and Eddie came in and they scarpered. It makes sense for it to be Eddie, the inside man, the mole. He has history in Ring of Honor, former world champion, former tag team champion, former TV champion, Grand Slam winner.
Yes.
And if it was him, he could go at it from the angle of, people call me the heart and soul of Impact Wrestling, and where did that get me? I'm left off the top spot every month. I have to fight for everything I get in Impact. These people, this Honor No More, they respect me, they appreciate me.
Yeah.
Whereas you people, you never appreciated me. I broke my body for you. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I want all of this because George Iceman did call it out. Make people aware of this situation that it could be Eddie that is the mole. I would love for this to be a red herring because I don't want Eddie to be a villain. I want babyface Eddie Edwards. And also, if Cardona's turning, you're not going to have any babyfaces left at the top.
That's it. Yeah. As for Eddie being a heel, I mean, I think I'd be okay with it, because I remember just not when Eddie won the world title, after he lost the world title rather. He seemed to be just floating around, not really doing much. He was kind of in the main event scene. I know he was the GHC World Heavyweight Champion, but and then Impact didn't really feel like a lot. And then of course the baseball bat incident happened, and it changed Eddie completely for the better. It gave him a boost, and he just started just going a bit doolally, and then it was handed Kenny by Tommy Dreamer. So he kind of was a heel then when he was going against Dreamer. But if this is Eddie leading the Ring of Honor group, it makes a lot of sense, and especially with I'm going to butcher his name now, but I think the Carrie Silkin being backstage at Impact at these tapings, maybe that might play something into it. I don't know. Maybe he's just there because they could be in there. I wish I knew, but I can't wait to find out if he does get involved. And if this is Eddie, I want this to lead so much to a lethal lockdown. Eddie and the Ring of Honor 5 versus the likes of Swan, Willie, Heath, Rhino, Josh, and hopefully, if he's back in time, Sammy Canahan. If they want to do a double turn, which Sammy was pretty much a face when he got injured, but I don't know if so I know plans change and they have to change that when an injury happens, but I still want to see the tag team of Eddie and Sammy. I still want that to be a thing. But if this is but can they really keep on feuding Sammy and Eddie together? Yeah, the roles will reverse this time, so it adds a different element to it. But I don't know. What will be your take on that if they did switch the roles on Sammy and Eddie?
I think it has to be leading to a lethal lockdown, some sort of War Games style match, doesn't it? They've done Hardcore War. They need something more than that now for Honor No More versus the Impact Nation, the Impact Faithful.
Yeah, the front line.
Bring
back reinvented the front line. I swear they're bringing back the front line. I hope they are. Anyway.
I miss the Main Event Mafia. One of the best groups in Impact history. The front line never really took off, did it? I had so many hopes for the front line because it was AJ, Ryan,
Joe,
Team 3D, Motor City Machine Guns, kind of.
Yeah, they were with Nash at that point.
Maybe
if I can't remember who feeding at that point.
But they were dipping their toes in front line. Front line wanted them to be in it, and they were like, "Nah, we're going to be villains. We're going to just harass Mick Foley for a bit."
That's it, was Mick Foley. Yeah, and of course, because Foley made Shelley to put the turkey suit on before they fire him, which was great stuff. But
it also made aware that they had one of the worst theme tunes in Impact at the time. Sounded like it was made on a MIDI keyboard.
Yeah. I mean, if Eddie is part of the Honor No More, you still have Rich, Willie, Heath, Rhino, and I need to forget Chris Sabin.
Yeah.
So he could be part of the front line.
Yeah.
And he could, so technically, would have two original members of the front line in that group.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true.
So maybe they do. I hope they do because it'll be very, very cool. But like I said last week, D'Lo still needs to get his payback on them. And it's either going to be the Shane Taylor promotion or the Aces and Eights. I mean, I can't see Sabin and the rest joining up to join the Aces and Eights.
No.
But, it'd be cool if they... I like invasion angles. I really, really like them. Even the GFW thing, I enjoyed it. It may be controversial to some people, but I enjoyed that because maybe Foley get behind Impact, so I'm looking for can't think of what I'm looking for, but you get behind them and you feel like you're part of them and you want them to win for you type of thing. This is for us. This is Impact. So I enjoyed the GFW thing, even though the time is probably one of the worst time for the company. I mean, I remember hearing a story from Brian Myers saying that after he was eliminated from the lethal lockdown, he went backstage and there was no catering, there was no water outfit for them.
Nothing.
There was nothing there. He was searching for a tap around the studios. Just to have some water. There's nothing there for them. So thankfully, the company's in a lot better place now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I want it. I hope this is leading to what I think it's leading to. I mean, obviously, it's going to be another great episode of Impact just from this card alone.
Just to go back to the Impact Ring of Honor thing, it does remind me of the Ring of Honor CZW feud from 2006. I don't know if you ever saw any of that stuff, but it was fantastic stuff. You know, Necro Butcher invading with Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli, people like that. It was great stuff. Eddie Kingston part of that as well. Against the likes of Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Roderick Strong, etc. But the point I was going to make was, you've got 5 people in the Honor No More faction. I guess 6 if you include Gresham, and you wouldn't have Maria involved in the Lethal Lockdown cage. So what I'm thinking is, Honor No More, they're outnumbered. If you include, Heath and Rhino, Rich and Willie, D'Lo, Sabin, Josh, Eddie, if he's there or not. I think Honor No More needs one more person. And who would you have be that person?
I mean, I guess you looked at Gresham, but he kind of distanced himself. For that, it's a tough one. I mean, I'm not overly familiar with Ring of Honor thing, but maybe it could be Bandito if he decided to turn heel, saying that he's a real Ring of Honor World Champion and all that. So maybe Bandito, or bring in Session Moss Martina or Danhausen. Just bring them in. Why not?
I was thinking Bandito or Roosh. I would love for it to be Dalton Castle.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Love me some Dalton Castle. I was at Madison Square Garden when Dalton Castle was scheduled to face Roosh, and I had my Dalton Castle Game of Thrones style t-shirt on. I was so excited for the match, and it lasted seconds. Roosh squashed him. I was so fucking frustrated.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and he has had a little stint in Impact, having a match with against Jeff Hardy and DJZ.
And Spud. Wrestled Spud.
Yes, and Spud as well. So, it's more a possibility. And with that, we are at an end for this week's TBN Talking Bloody Nonsense. Like I said, a lot to look forward to on Impact this week. I mean, just Impact on a roll, and it's going to keep that way by the look of things. So, thank you for watching. Of course, follow us here, there, and everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Sounder, and wherever else you podcast. Catch Max and Jeff every Saturday night on twitch.tv/TNAIW channel for talking nonsense about Impact Wrestling. If you've got
any questions or comments, hit us up at Peter Nixon Esquire, at Mr. Impact Craig. We really would love to hear from you, and we'll make sure to answer your questions and comments on the podcast.
Yes, get your questions in, get your queries in. Just ask us anything you want to hear our opinion on, or just ask us anything. We'll get it read, and we appreciate everyone listening on audio. Numbers have dropped slightly, but we're not too focused on that. Just thank you for tuning in. The numbers and the audio have unfortunately dropped, but like I said, we appreciate you listening in, appreciate you watching us. Do the whole thing. Follow us here everywhere. Subscribe to never miss an episode. Go check out both episodes of TBN Chats, where I chat with the Catch Pro Women's Champion and the former TNT Women's Champion, Lizzie Evo. And Nixon chats with British wrestling royalty and Ricky Knight Jr. Hoping to get a few more people on the show. Maybe someone from a certain wrestling dynasty again. But yeah, we'll keep you updated on that. And until next time, goodbye, my friends.